Aloha friends, and welcome to my channel Tasty Healthy. Today we are going to make asparagus soup, and we're going to go ahead and start by slicing leeks. I'm just wrapping up, slicing all my leeks. One leek. I'm going to slice one leek, and leeks grow down in the dirt, the grit, and the rocks. Kind of slide over the leaves and down inside of the leek. So the best thing to do to keep those rocks and dirt and grit from getting into your food is to go ahead and fill a dish with water and then put the slices of leeks in that water. They kind of float, which is good because it helps the dirt and the grit to sink to the bottom. So you're going to go ahead and put those leeks into the water and then kind of break up the little slices so that the dirt and grit can come out of those leeks and sink to the bottom. And then when you're eating, you won't have a big chomp of dirt and grit. Or it's just unpleasant sometimes if you find one tiny little rock. It's very unpleasant. So that will help you to not ever deal with that situation. Okay, so we're going to bring our rice cooker over. If you have a stovetop, that's fine. I'm using a rice cooker because that is internationally, most people have a rice cooker at the very least, and also students. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. And we are rough chopping 1.5 cups of white onion. If you have a different kind of onion, you can use a different kind as well, but white onion goes really well with this recipe. And use about 1 to 2 tablespoons of oil. Typically I use coconut oil, but for some reason I wasn't really thinking and just poured out olive oil. But usually when I am sauteing, I will use coconut oil because the heat doesn't ruin it like the heat does to olive oil. Olive oil, it's good to cook olive oil at a lower temperature. So if you're going to be sauteing, coconut oil is really good to use when sauteing. So 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 leek, and 1.5 onions into the rice cooker or the pot. And then you're going to kind of break it up, stir it around and break it up. And we'll go ahead and close down the rice cooker. I have it on the saute setting. And we'll just let it saute there for a few minutes. And while the saute is starting, we're going to go ahead with our asparagus and break off the woody bottoms. They just naturally snap off. I was a little intimidated the first time I cooked asparagus because I didn't know. And I think I actually did cook it with the woody parts on. So if you do, it's just really fibrous and not very pleasant. So just snap off those woody bottoms. And I just used one bunch of asparagus, probably about 2 cups. Just break off those woody stalks and then go ahead and rough chop your asparagus. Such a nice green color asparagus. Very good. Very good veggie. Okay, we're going to go ahead and clear away those woody stalks. And then we're going to put these aside in a bowl. And then we are going to bring out a zucchini, and just 1/2 zucchini. We go ahead and rough chop. Usually I slice it in half and then in half again. Just a nice rough chop. And we always want to use fresh. Fresh is best. So as I usually say in every video, it's best if you can cook your food on the first day that you go grocery shopping. Second day, I usually freeze the leftovers, and absolutely do not keep your food past 4 days. The bacteria grows, mold, fungi, all those fun things. So we always want to eat our food within 4 days at the latest. And usually if I haven't eaten it by the second day, all the leftovers get frozen and put in the freezer. Okay, so now we are chopping 2 whole stalks of celery, and it is a lot of celery. It's a lot, but celery is amazing. Another amazing veggie. It has a perfect balance of electrolytes. So if you're ever not feeling well, celery is perfect. When I had COVID, I either had celery juice or ate celery stalks the entire time, because you definitely want to be balancing your electrolytes. So yeah, anytime you're not feeling well, the body uses those electrolytes to reach homeostasis. So that's why it's so important when you're not feeling well. It's great when you get up first thing in the morning. You can either eat one celery, or you can make a celery juice, and it just cleans out all that debris that the body cleaned out overnight and helps you to feel nice and fresh for the day. It's a perfect thing to have first thing in the morning as well. So I'm going to go ahead and chop up 2 stalks of celery. Make sure you cut off all those brown spots, bruises, any kind of old material off of the celery. Okay, and it looks like our leeks and our onions are coming along. They're nice and clear and translucent, soft. So we're going to go ahead, bring out our veggie broth. We're going to add 4 cups, about 4 cups of veggie broth. Usually start with 1 or 2 cups, and then I just add as I go along. And the celery will definitely provide a lot of water. So if you want to add less broth, that's fine too. I'm going to go ahead and put our celery and zucchini and asparagus on top. If you have a really large pot, that's a good idea, because this is a pretty large soup. And I'm just rough chopping the asparagus. I didn't do it before. Okay, I'm gonna add asparagus on the top. The onions and leeks usually take about 10 minutes, give or take, to cook, depending on the heat of your pan or rice cooker. And this rice cooker usually takes about 10 minutes from the time that you turn the saute on. And you just want to get them nice and soft and translucent. Okay, and just kind of stir it around a little bit. Get it covered on top there. You can always add a little bit more broth if you want. And we're going to go ahead and close that up and let it cook for about 20 minutes. So then you can go and do your homework or do your work that you brought home or watch a good show and then come back. So we're back after 20 minutes. It's had some time to cook, and we're going to bring out our immersion blender. I put the link down in the notes for the blender that I've been using. If you want to shop the recipe, I always put the links down below in the notes. And then with this immersion blender, I just go in on the top to begin with, kind of break things up and break it down. It's nice and chunky, and then it gets really smooth as I go. Then as I get those really chunky parts broken down, I'll just continue to stir and blend it up until it gets nice and smooth. And most of my soups are pretty thick, so it's quite a bit of fiber. We definitely need a lot of fiber to stay well and keep things moving, keep that balance by moving everything out fairly quickly. So it's usually pretty thick. Has quite a bit of fiber, and but it still tastes good. And of course, salt and pepper are always good friends to help our dishes taste a little bit better. So you always want to salt, especially salts to your taste preference. And of course, the best salts are sea salt and Himalayan salt. And I also use kosher sea salt, and you can use Dead Sea salt. Some people still use the sodium chloride table salt, but I'm not a big fan. It's not bad to use it every once in a while, though. Your body can definitely use it to take out the bad bacteria. But I don't use it on a consistent basis. So getting that soup nice and smooth. With this blender, you have to kind of keep it in the center and kind of at an angle so that it doesn't scrape the pan and underneath the surface so that it doesn't squirt everywhere. But it's fairly easy to use. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and dish out our asparagus soup. And then go ahead and garnish it. I think maybe some basil or maybe some little asparagus tops might be a good garnish. Here I use sage, and sage can kind of turn brown if it gets hot. So I think it'd be better to use to use a little basil or a little, you could use a little thyme, just the asparagus tops. If you love garlic, you could use a little garlic. Sprinkle a few bits on top. Whatever you're in the mood for, but especially greens, any way you can add a little green to your foods is really good. Just helps you to clean the palate at the end. It makes it look pretty. So there you have it. There's your asparagus soup, and hope you're enjoying our channel here. And thank you, mahalo, for joining us, and hope you enjoy your weekend. Aloha, friends.